Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are heading out on a supply run. Yeah, we're gonna get busy in the garage today. It is once again cold. We're expecting more snow tonight. And if you look here in Virginia, guess what? We have snows. But we're about to roll out in the Maverick. This is actually the first time that we've been able to get out with these new NotchO tires that we put on here. I guess it's been a little more than a year ago now, but they've done pretty good in the snow. Picked my door up the other night. It was snowing and ice everywhere, but Maverick did what the Maverick got to do. Yes, there's salt and stuff on it. It looks nasty right now, but there's no sense cleaning it up. Tomorrow night it's supposed to snow again, so we'll see. Let's get busy and get on the road. So just to give a recap where we are in this front suspension project on the Mustang. We got busy the other day and we mounted the Camber A-arms and also the steering rack. Well, one of the things you run into, and I did on this one, against my better judgment, I usually go with something as serious as a steering rack. I would buy usually brand names such as Unisteer or Flaming River. However, I got lured into buying something off of eBay, and let's just say that I'm less than happy with it, because the stock center to center mounting points on a Foxbody steering rack is 15.5 inches. The only way I could get that steering rack to fit was to put a standard bushing on one side and an offset bushing on the other side, because for whatever reason the steering rack that I have is not a 15.5 inch center. It's more like a 16. When I was looking at up, a 16-inch center is more like what you would find on the old Mustang 2 style steering racks. I don't know where these steering racks are made, who makes them. Maybe this one is off just a little bit, but it's off just enough to have to use that offset bushing on the one side. Is it a problem? I don't think so. That little bit of half an inch can be adjusted out with the tie rod ends, and it's still mounted on there solidly. It's just irritating to me because I won't say I'm a perfectionist, but I want things done correctly. I want it to be right, but it's one of those things. I did take a chance in buying a steering rack off of eBay, and I did message the person that I bought it from, and they asked a question or two, and so far I haven't heard any other replies. So they reply, if they don't, they don't. And that is the other thing I want to tell you about. When you're sourcing these parts, as I have done, you're buying them, sometimes you're trying to keep a certain budget in mind, sometimes you're trying to save it a few bucks, and that's nothing wrong with that. However, if you are going to buy parts and stockpile them and then put them on at your leisure, you're also going to run into the problem of warranty. Now, this particular steering rack, the last date that I could return it, according to eBay, is, or was, I should say, December 3rd, because I bought it November 3rd, which means I'd had it for more than 30 days. So that's where we are on that. gonna do? So sometimes you can notify and I notified the seller, hoping maybe they'd say, you know what, send that back and we'll send you another one. Sometimes they'll do that, sometimes not. I'm not gonna kick up a stink because it's my responsibility to check that prior to the time of the warranty running out. I should have just put a tape measure on it, did my research, found out if that one was 15.5 inches center to center, but I didn't, so that's where we are. So today what we're going to do, we're going to get out there in the garage when we get back home for this trip, this little supply run, is we're going to go and install the 10-way adjustable struts, caster camber plates, get it all put up under the car. And I may drop the car down just because I want to set the ride height somewhat. Of course, the engine isn't in there, so we can't really set the ride height for the final, you know, what it's going to be when the engine is in there. But I just want to, I'm so sick and tired when I go out there to that garage. When they had the stock suspension on there, it just sat up so high, it just looked so ridiculous. And even some of the pictures that you guys see leading into these videos, it just looks so ridiculous. I just want to see what it looks like with the front end sitting down at a proper ride height. Will I be able to set it down low enough for that to happen with no engine in it? I don't know, but we're going to find out. So we're going to come back, install the caster camber plates, struts, springs, all that, and see what it looks like. So hang on, and we'll get back to the garage in just a minute. Okay, we're going to assemble the caster camber plates. This is the driver's side. We're going to lay everything out. This other piece will come up from underneath the underside of the shock tower, and this will sit on top. But before we do that, there is this piece which fits inside of the caster camber plate, and it will hold your strut top and allow you to be able to adjust the caster and camber. So we're going to get that assembled to the bottom side of the black caster camber plate. There are 4 1/4-inch screws that go in, and I'm going to run these, each of them, into this adjuster plate and run the screws in, because sometimes the threads need to be cleared out, and I just want to make sure that they're going to be able to tighten down. So they're quarter-inch hex heads. I have a hex head socket on my ratchet, so I'm going to run those each in and then get up under the car and assemble the rest of it. After sliding the 3-bolt bracket in from underneath, we're going to take and put 3 spacer washers on top of each of the bolt connectors. Then we're going to put this caster camber plate on, and then we're going to put 3 nylock bolts on each one of these and just kind of hand tighten them for now. Oh, maybe I forgot to tell you, you got to put washers down before you put those bolts on, because we certainly don't want to have to take these bolts back off again. So this is what the driver's side will look like when you are done. 2 bolts in the front, 1 bolt in the back. Now let's get this strut assembly put together. Now this is the sleeve that I just slid down for the coilovers, and it slides all the way down and fits into a neat little slot so that it doesn't move or turn around. Then there's a dust cover that goes over the top. We will need to put some anti-seize on these threads, but I want to get this assembled so we give you a good idea of what this is going to look like. All the hardware is included. Almost. At least I thought at this point it was. First, we are going to install the lock ring that will be screwed down first, and then the actual adjuster ring will go above this. So let's get this one turned down. I'm going to go ahead and put the adjuster ring on. Make sure you have it so that the flat side goes down. And here are the springs. Make sure when you install the springs that the writing on the spring is right side up, and that will make sure that you have the bottom on the bottom and the top on the top. Just to ring down pretty much as far as you can. Here is where we ran into some trouble. I do now realize that we are missing a couple of very important pieces. The struts that were already on this car were not factory, so they did not have the factory bump stops, which you will need to install these. So at this point, I decided to go ahead and lubricate the threads on the coilover adjuster sleeves and go ahead and install these struts temporarily, just to kind of see how they fit up under there and make sure there are no other surprises while we order the bump stops. Unfortunately, it's going to be a couple of days before they come in. So I decided to just kind of mount these back up under here, just to have it attached, just to kind of give you guys an idea what everything looked like installed. But in a few days, the bump stops should come in. When you put these spring hats on, make sure the roller bearing on top gets some form of lubrication, because it's necessary. It'll keep those from seizing up. I put some anti-seize on those, slid the hat down, and then there's a washer on the bottom and then a washer on the top of the roller bearing. After that, you should be able to slide it up in there, and this is what it looks like, pretty much installed. Still concerned about the steering rack and that offset bushing on one side. I think it's going to be okay. I kind of mocked everything into place and it seemed to be okay. There's enough adjustability that even a 1/2 inch off won't hurt it, because we'll be able to adjust that amount out with the bump steer kit. But anyway, that's all we have for now.